what you want to tell in your stories?
My story has to do with the idea of capturing moment of human evolving time. Greek mythology is something like really connected to the way we think of ourselves and how to develop and how to seek for justice, basically. So for me, as someone coming from completely different culture, I'm coming from Egypt, that was the first time for me to think of working with Greek mythology. And it happened only when I entered Pompeii. The original plan for me was to visit Pompeii, so maybe I can collaborate and make a sculpture in Pompeii, and it's something that has to do with the story of the eruption of the volcano and all of this. But actually I changed the plan when I entered. For the first time I was fascinated by this frozen history, and I thought it would be the best to try to investigate more into the Greek mythology and to use Pompeii as a scenography for a film.
Which is exceptionally beautiful, but there's different kind of aesthetic which are crossed in your movie, because there's a Greek tragedy, but there's also kind of a craft style, and there's also cruelty a lot.
It's something also I love to do a lot, which is combining many different mediums. I feel that I use this word culture as a medium also. I don't like it to be, for me, when I think, as a final result, as a final goal. Because when I think about it this way, it grabs all the types of visual cliches and everything that I don't want to include. So usually I like a lot, when I think of culture, is to use it as a medium. So of course the film has many different things. It's in classical Arabic. I compose all the music for it. And everything is like a musical song. It's another format of an opera, for example, to me. And every element I designed, like all these costumes, the masks, the scenography, if there are some little scenography inside Pompeii, everything is part of this vision. And how to combine all these things together is becoming the challenge. And how to make, because usually this is my way of working, that I construct a script that is very solid, that it's based on academic research, for history, it can be even literature sometimes, like in my series Al-Arab al-Madfuna, for example. But most of the time it's really about history. And this time it's something.
Why history?
I love history, and I love it that it's like really human creation. And it's not only something like really rigid, because in the end we always present history as something has a beginning and end. This is already fiction. It doesn't have a beginning and end. It's just like we just grab part of it. But I like a lot to deal with history that is already human creation, and I transform it into a new format.
There's a lot of fantasy in it too, no?
A lot, yes, of course.
Yes.
Because also this type of fantasy, I think it's a way to analyze our belief in this history and the authenticity of this history.
But in your childhood, did you have some Egyptian legend around you, or not at all? Mythology?
No, but of course, because in the end I lived in Mecca, for example, and I'm very connected to religion. Even until now, I'm very connected to religion, and in my work, I'm very connected to religion.
But connected, what does it mean?
It's very surreal way. I studied a lot I studied Quran, and I studied classical Arabic, and that's why all of my work are in classical Arabic. And I feel like really I'm connected to all the stories, all this religious, let's call it religious
But
stories.
this is not at all about your culture, religion culture.
No, it is also. It's about Islam also. But this time, this one is not about Islam. But the thing is, they are all connected in a way or another. Because,
Like what?
for
That-
example, the creation of human beings in Islam. For example, we are created out of mud, right? Out of the earth. That exists in many different cultures, including the Greek mythology. So, for example, in the Greek mythology, Zeus sent Prometheus and Epimetheus to create human beings out of clay also, and also to create animals and birds and all the insects that we see, for example, in the exhibition in my paintings and drawings. And I feel it's really something amazing when we see also the story of the flood that is already exists in the Greek mythology, and it's a very important stage that exists in the Greek mythology. That is exactly the same flood that we see in Judaism, Christianity, Islam. The same idea that humanity are reaching amount of sins that are not possible to cure. So the only solution in the subconscious of this mythology is to erase them, to begin a new humanity, because there is no way. They are already supporting power, they are supporting dictators, they are not helping poor, and this is the rhythm.
And this is your message?
Of course, because in
Here?
the end, in the subconscious, in the mythology, in this Greek mythology, it's about seeking for justice. And this is really before Islam or Christianity or anything. This is really what is happening. And even when you read this in the Egyptian mythology, that it goes back, I don't know, it's about the same thing. It's how human beings are seeking for justice.
Some of them.
No, but this is at least this is the core. This is what every civilization is presenting us.
So when you decided to do this movie, you thought about that?
Oh, of course, that was really clear not when I decided to because I had to study this. I didn't know enough about Greek mythology. I didn't study Greek mythology. I only studied this when I was fascinated by visiting Pompeii. I was like, wow, it was like incredible.
So you study, now you know.
Yeah, I mean, not I know, it's impossible to know, but
No,
it's
but
just
more.
like, it's like I was inspired by this, really inspired by this. And the thing that this this type of work for me is different from, for example, a series like Cabaret Crusades or from Drama 1882, because it's not really about history, it's something different. This is not only history. It's about us as human beings who are captured between two different worlds. The metaphysical world that we don't see, we don't know what is it, and our physical materialistic world. That, for example, if I want to compare this work to other previous work I did, is something like, for example, the series of Al-Arab al-Madfuna. This type of work is, even if it has a lot of political messages, yes, it exists, but it's mainly about this type of us as human beings trying to make sense between this metaphysical world that we don't see. Mythology is this metaphysical world.
Yes.
But also when we live like this, there is metaphysical world. We don't see it. We don't understand what is it. We don't understand what is death. We don't understand what is happening. And I think that's really the idea about this type of research.
But is it a metaphor?
I don't know about metaphor. I'm not sure.
For example, when you choose to make the mask in clay,
Yes.
Is
Yes, of course. It's to refer to this. But also it's not
in
only,
clay reference to the first man,
of course it's a reference to the making of human beings in all these religions, including the Greek mythology. But also there is something interesting about this ceramic masks. that I made it with a certain technique that they make in France.
Ah, in France?
I made it in Oban actually.
Ah, of course, les santons.
Exactly. With this tradition that it's European, Christian, that belongs to
Yes,
the,
and it's a
European.
reconstruction of the birth of Jesus and Christmas.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
also there are many stories in the Greek mythology that clearly remind us of Jesus in the way and the construction, everything. So to try to connect between these two ways, and even the type of craft in ceramic, I found that it's very important because for me this Greek mythology is also a way for me as Egyptian to understand the construction of Europe. It's not only something far away, but it's still all these types of mythology. It's already part of the subconscious of civilization.
But in fact, it's Roman mythology.
Yeah, but of course, but it's for example when we see when we read these stories, for example, and we try to connect it to for example the Islamic civilization, it's a little bit far. It's a little bit far for a reason, and because when Islam came, the idea even of figuration
Exactly.
was really, and you see this forbidden. And
It's the difference between figuration and abstraction.
yes, absolutely. And all these things even made the construction of any type of mythology, whether in Islam or Christianity or Greek mythology, they're really different also in the end. The totality about seeking for justice always exists, but
In different forms.
in different forms, exactly, different forms.
Merci, monsieur.
Oh, that was lovely. Thank you.